Now, if you're okay with it, I'm just going to tweak things a little bit so that we finish with the Saudi story. We'll go to France first, and we've got a couple of little tasty little stories here. Um, the first thing of note is the France story because there's a couple of French veterans returning to Liga apparently.
Yeah, proper dad's army type of thing, isn't it? Paul Pogba, there he is now back at Monaco on a free. So he's returned there. We'll see how he gets on. I mean, the only interesting thing that a journalist had on this was he's still suing two members of his family in France. So that'll be interesting to see if that backstory links to anything else. And then the other one, Olivier Giroud, who I think is approximately 56 years old now, is coming back to play at Lille, isn't he? With Jonathan David set to leave on a free. He's the replacement. So, yeah, it's a proper return for the veterans, for World Cup winning players. We will see how both get on.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll do well. Now, the Gyökeres talk that we said we'd get to, let's do it now. I saw somebody today saying, reporting about, apparently Gyökeres' behaviour has not been exactly exemplary. He really is looking to get out and force his way out. I'm hearing stories about refusing to train and stuff like that. But there's a bit of, this is getting a little bit feisty, isn't it? The whole situation here. Talk to us about that, and maybe if you could tie it into the Barcelona and Williams story as well.
Yeah, and everyone's rowing a little bit at the moment, aren't they? Players and presidents seem to be in the mix quite a bit. And in Portugal, as it says there on the screen, Frederico Varanda, the sporting president, saying that, again, no way Gyökeres is leaving for 60 plus 10 million euros, as people say. He won't leave. Absolutely not. And he was even talking about the market there, wasn't he? And saying, like, look at what Matthias Cunha's gone for. Look at the Zubamendi. Even a little dig at the agent going, I believe that Victor could leave, or unless he has the worst agent in the world, which I don't believe. So just the little digs all round. But we're still waiting to see, will Gyökeres go on strike, which could well be the outcome, as many are speculating, and what then that means for the price at the same time. In terms of presidents as well, as you mentioned, Joan Laporta at Barcelona, well, he got snitched on, didn't he? He got snitched on by Atletico Bilbao's president to La Liga, who said they're being a bit naughty about this, the way they're doing it, and we don't actually think they can afford to pay the transfer fee in the first place. They're just trying to unsettle the player. And in typical Joan Laporta, out in the press conference, isn't he, going, it's all nonsense. They can investigate us all we like. We're one-on-one. We're all fine, etc. We'll carry on doing business this way. So it's an interesting one, that one, because as much as Gyökeres is prepared to go on strike, the Williams family adore Atletico Bilbao, is what we've been told. That Inaki, the brother, plays there as well, doesn't he? That they have a fantastic relationship. They've made him their highest paid player, Nico Williams, well above their threshold. They've taken care of his family. So the Williams family don't want to rock the boat remotely with Atletico Bilbao, even though they do want to move to Barcelona. But we know the way Barcelona operate at the same time. And fair play to Barcelona, because this week, Trev, they finally cleared the back pay from, yeah, that's right, you guessed it, 2018 and deferred wages. They finally got round to paying them this week as Barcelona, as Laporta proudly confirmed, almost as like, no, we've cleared all our debt, we've done that, we've done the final payments. Like, mate, you owe this money from 2018 for some players, that deferred wages and things like that. So it is funny the way presidents work, but whether they're in Spain, whether they're in Portugal, they are giving us some entertainment this summer.
You've got to love how they bring the drama, because the best we can do at the moment in the Premier League is selling women's teams to ourselves. So it is nice to see a little bit of the old, soap opera for us to talk about. And speaking of soap opera, Bayern Munich are a place where you can always expect that there's going to be some claws out and internal wrangling and backbiting and fellas angling and jostling for position. Now, they have been looking to do a bit of business. We have famously gazumped them for their premier target. It looked as if they were about to have a second disappointment. There are lads leaving the club that we were initially informed they were going out of their way to keep. And now it looks like they have the, is it the Wolfsburg? Woltemade, the really tall young German striker that they've lined up for a likely, I guess, what is he going to play understudy to Kane? I'm not really sure what's going on there. Talk to us about Bayern and if there's any other related Germany news.
This is so weird because you think of all the players they've been linked with and turned down by this window, like your Wirtzes, your Nico Williams. They then, all of a sudden, and this is, to be fair, you can say what Bayern do. They look at the young star of the tournament for the German under-21s, the 6'9" Wolfgang or whatever he's called. He does almost look like one of them characters on Harry Potter that turns into a werewolf a little bit, doesn't he, when the moon comes out? He's got that whole look about him. But like you said, yes, a young star of German football, and I get all that. But is he going to play understudy to like Rodney Trotter? Where's he going to sort of play? Where's he going to get his minutes? So young, you're just a bit like, how's this going to work? And what we also love at the same time as well is just the way, Bayern people talk about it. See, even Ebrel, before he goes into negotiation, like when they're going into those Cobra meetings and they were telling you back in the day, I hope we go into the negotiations in a reasonably neutral and objective manner. That does sound like a politician or statesman who's gearing up for war, aren't they, or trying to prevent that type of thing. But such is the way they do it at Bayern as ever, which brings us entertainment. And, important to say, there is a Liverpool link there at the same time, but we might package that into the final Saudi bit as well.
Yes, let's do that and let's finish. We've got a little bit long again, but the information's the information. We are going to finish with Saudi. You've got Theo Hernandez stories. You've got Jean Duran stories. We've got the ridiculous news of what Ronaldo is going to earn, having been, we saw him being sneered at and laughed at by his own fans. And yet somehow he's walked away with an absolutely disgusting new contract. And, of course, Luis Diaz is reputed to be, in inverted commas, unhappy with Liverpool. And with Barcelona not prepared to pay him the money that he wants or pay Liverpool the money that Liverpool wants, he is now working his way back to being a top target for Al-Nassr. And I know what you want to do is tie it into the previous story too. So let's go through these last few tales.
Yeah, Saudi, after the Club World Cup's all done, it's still fully expected across the board that Theo Hernandez will become a player for Al Hilal and will complete that move from AC Milan on huge wages. On the screen there as well, Juan Duran, do you remember the Villa forward that went instead of Núñez in the January window for about 75 million? All the indications are across Europe and various outlets, places have got this, that it's fully expected he's going to Fenerbahce on loan potentially, Trev, that it's not really working out. He's not happy there at Al-Nassr, and it clears up a space for them. Now, it clears up a space for their sporting director, Cristiano Ronaldo, who, though he doesn't have that job title, is officially that, as he's coming out through all intents and purposes. And he even did an interview, I think it was yesterday, where it's just funny the way he said it. I'm from Portugal, but I belong to Saudi Arabia, were his words. Now, to be fair, in his defence a little bit, if Saudi Arabia were paying me the rumoured £2.5 million a week, I would probably declare that at the same time, to be honest. I think I could get on board with that. Yeah. In all honesty, we could quite easily become Saudi Arabia Index in a heartbeat for that type of cash. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, he's now making the plays and all decisions are being rolled through Ronaldo, so we'll see how that develops. And as we mentioned, we've said it before, various reports that Luis Diaz is Al-Nassr's top left wing target, that they are still interested in him. They are prepared to offer in excess of 85 million euros, which translates about 72.5 million. We said with Diaz before that when Barcelona wouldn't play ball and offer us a reasonable fee, as we said it, we shut that down, which he wasn't happy with. He wasn't happy with the whole he's not getting a renewal, which we've told, we could have told him that weeks ago. There's no way Liverpool will come in with a 28-year-old with a renewal. So it seems across the board, he's a little bit peed off with Liverpool, isn't he, Luis Diaz there? So the only thing, again, it seems is, and we're almost saying it like a broken record, if you want a bigger contract, go and get the Saudi bag, but you've got to accept football obscurity a little bit as well. The only maybe interesting thing to keep an eye on with that is Florian Plettenberg tweeted earlier, didn't he, that he is on Bayern Munich's shortlist, which kind of would make sense because they've missed out on a lot of left wingers and are working through that list at a rapid rate. So it could possibly be a great scenario for everyone. However, will they pony up money anything like Saudi Arabia for his contract? Probably not. But at the same time, they'd improve what Liverpool, or he's on at Liverpool at the moment. But again, could they meet the fee that Liverpool consider reasonable and would make the move? There's a big question mark around that at the same time as well. So the Diaz situation does feel like it is going to rumble quite a bit. And I don't know what's going on with Florian Plettenberg, I have to be honest, because he had the Diaz story as well. Look what he's tweeted in the last sort of hour or so. The three strikers Liverpool are looking at, Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak, and Victor Osimhen, which, correct me if I'm wrong, have we not be saying we've been looking at these three for like months and months on end? But hey, apparently it's exclusive now. All of a sudden, I'll let people make their minds up on that. But Europe and Saudi, quite a few connections there to Luis Diaz, eh?
Can I just state for the record that if the Saudi fan media moguls are watching, that Dave and I would happily belong to Saudi Arabia and abandon ship here at Anfield Index to go over and belong to Saudi Arabia for a nice sizable bag and maybe a gold-plated Lamborghini. We are quite happy to do that. So let's wrap it up here, Dave, because like I say, we've gone a bit long. We've gone into 1 hour and 6 minutes at this stage, nearly 7. Any last minute thing you want to say? Anything that you left on the table that you want to throw in just before we finish?
I just think we're in that period in the new financial year, if you want to call it, for football clubs, for PSR, not that maybe even matters. But I do think it's going to be a busy period with other clubs really starting to ramp up now. I do expect some movement on the centre-back front, whether Kwanzaa's confirmed tonight, tomorrow. I do think you'll see something quick on Gay on that. And I think he's on the screen there again. This is just going to rumble on and on and on until something happens either way. But Alexander Isak will remain the saga of the summer.
Yes, and long may it rumble on, and hopefully we'll have a happy ending for all concerned, especially us here on this show. Thanks to all of you who have given your eyes and ears to it on the various media platforms. Thanks for getting involved in the chats. Hey, play nice in there, will you, lads? It's getting a bit aggressive there. Fair play to you, scrappy individuals. I'd like to see it. Passion's running high as ever. Thanks to Dave for putting together all the information as per usual. And we will join you when there is the makings of another show. That could be 2 days. It could be a week. We'll aim at Monday. But if there's anything at all, Dave and I will be back as quickly as possible. So for now, good luck.